Yeah, we want to try again.
Okay, guys, it should be
Yes.
working now.
Yes, we could try again. I apologize about that, everyone. We just had something. If you've ever done streaming before, like I have in
Try
many
this
times
again.
elsewhere, sometimes OBS or the things you're using just decide to change your audio devices for you. And today, the audio devices had a mind of their own. So,
We are here
hi.
though, and we can get. Can everybody hear me? Are we good? Can I get thumbs
Think
up and?
we are good.
I think we're good. I think we're
Yes,
Gucci.
we got some yeses. Great, awesome.
All
Welcome
right.
everyone to our Update 2.7 celebration. We have a lot of fun stuff to show and share with you today. But first, some introductions. I want to introduce Vanessa. Vanessa,
Hi.
say hi. Vanessa's on the community team.
Hello. I'm a community coordinator, and as you can see, I'm helping put together the stream today instead of Megan and some others. And I'm very excited to be here. And I do feel immensely bad about the sound thing, but
All right,
sorry
can you
about
guys hear
that.
me?
In the future, we won't be having those issues. I
Oh, it
promise.
happens.
I promise.
Might
We
hear
still have
echo for
people
a
in
sec.
chat saying you're the goat, Vanessa.
I
So.
see that. It's so refreshing and heartwarming.
And then I'd also like to introduce Mr. Chris Jung, who is on our on leadership for Avengers. Everyone give Chris some hearts in chat.
Howdy, glad to be here and glad to show off my Halloween costume
good.
that I've been working
Sorry
on
about echo,
for
guys.
a
You
good
hear
long while.
echo at the
So
beginning. I just want to make sure you guys
glad to
can.
sort of rep Winter Soldier for the stream and for the game.
You'll have to show your arm like in more detail for viewers later because Chris 3D printed this. Everyone, no joke, it looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was my challenge for like September and October, trying to get all this stuff together.
Let's chat about what we're going to share today. So we're going to start off chatting. We're going to show off the new Cloning Lab trailer. Break down what to expect from the Cloning Lab. Later, we're going to have an interview with Scott Porter, who is our voice actor for the Winter Soldier and a member of our narrative team who helped write Bucky. That segment is pre-recorded, but we took your questions in Discord and Twitter in advance, so we'll be answering some of your questions in that segment as well. And then
so happy
after,
to
we're
be
going
on
to
this
show off
team,
some of
yes.
the outfits that you're going to love for Bucky. There's a whole bunch that are going to be available in the hero card and in the marketplace right at launch. And hang around to the end. We'll have one more surprise to show off. But let's go ahead and jump into our Cloning Labs trailer. This aired this morning. Vanessa, you want to cue it up for us?
I promise nothing given how we started, but let's see what we got.
Avengers touching
Oh, it's
down.
lagging.
Yes,
Let's move
Scott
out.
does rule.
Boom. Hold on, guys. My goodness.
Behold my power!
Is AIM keeping Inhumans here?
No one shall stand in my way. I've only grown
1 second.
stronger!
Hold on, guys. I got a text call to job opportunity. And mute myself. You guys should be still seeing the thing, but I'm on mute.
I had a feeling that OBS was going to betray me. That's why I put out the disclaimer I did at the beginning.
It's also on the YouTube channel. Y'all can check it out there. We'll post it again. That was our Cloning Labs trailer. Super excited to chat about the Cloning Labs today. Chris, what is AIM's Cloning Lab? How do you play it? Let's jump right in.
Yeah, it's our newest Omega level threat, so it is endgame content. It is a new version of the MODOK fight from many of you experienced in the campaign, but this one has a twist where it is the multiplayer version. He's got new moves, new attacks. it's a really satisfying piece of content to play. God, I was actually going through my Outlook calendar, and we've play tested this one 9 different times as a sort of large group of people getting together over the past 60 days. So we've seen sort of all the iterations of this,
And it's new, right? So this is different from what players experienced at the end of the reassembled campaign.
Mhm.
MODOK for the OLT has been rebuilt from the ground up. Is that correct?
Yes, he's got a whole bunch of new moves in there, and man, it's my favorite boss battle we have. Getting a group of people together and fighting your way there, and then doing battle with him felt really good in ways that I've enjoyed Super Adaptoid and the Raid, but this one in particular, it feels good on the sticks, for lack of a better phrase.
Do you want to talk about, Chris, narratively, where Aim's Cloning Lab fits in Update 2.7 and the evolving narrative for Avengers, as well as Bucky's introduction to the team?
Sure. As we saw at the end of, oh god, I'm gonna blank on the villain sector name.
No Rest for the Wicked?
No Rest for the Wicked. I always want to call it Something Wicked This Way Comes. At
I
the end of No Rest for the Wicked, we do see that Monica has been working to bring back MODOK. So this is sort of the culmination of that. You get this sort of reborn version of MODOK that you get to fight.
And how do you start the cloning lab? Who can play?
Yeah.
There's power level requirement, is that right?
There is. You do have to be power level 175 to play the mission. And once you are power level 175, you will be able to see it on the war table. And there are new gear rewards that you can get from picking this up, as well as helping push your power level beyond the 175 threshold we've had previously. We are increasing the max power level. You can be up to 185.
We'll get into the gear in a bit, but pushing your power level up to 185, you do that by collecting the gear pieces you earn from playing the new OLT. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, the pieces, the gear that you collect from Colonial Labs will help increase your power level.
And we'll have, we're not going to get into the gear too much today, but we're going to have a dev blog going out later this week that dives into the nitty gritty of what all those systems in the new gear are and what those gear pieces are.
All right, guys. Sorry about that.
So
That
we'll
was a
get
job
into
in the
that
view.
I can
then.
give one little teaser
Tomorrow,
on that,
10 to
though.
We
7,
love
so
teasers.
2:30.
So
Yeah.
we are going to have a new system in there that is nanite charges. So you will have certain perks that will allow your character to build up these charges, and they'll be of different status types, like plasma or gamma. And then you'll actually automatically apply those to your light melee attacks. Not the sprint or evade ones, but your sort of standard light melee attacks, so you can build up these charges and then spend them to give you an extra way to apply status. And there are some of these perks that actually let you apply grant charges to your entire strike team as well.
We love it. The next thing that we would like to, well, I guess I should ask first, Chris, is there anything else you want to share about the cloning lab?
Yeah. I would like to just touch on a minute that I know we talked about this as a piece of content in the past, and it didn't meet the expectations we had, so it hadn't been released previously. But that's why we've spent the time to come back in, readdress this content, sort of bring it up to the quality bar that we've been looking for. And that's why we've been playtesting this as much as we have, to make sure it's going to meet expectations and not just have you fighting Abomination again.
Let's roll into, we're going to show off our abilities featurette next. We've already shared this online, but for folks who are tuning in for the first time or maybe have missed it, we're going to show that now, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what Bucky is like to play as right after this.
All right. And I will say I'm going to try, fingers crossed, that this one does not. Huh? What's wrong?
Oh, is it going to be, do we think it might be laggy?
It might be a little bit laggy, so it might be better, I personally think, if we want to just hop into talking about it, because I don't want to disappoint the chat with a video that's just like doing a slideshow on everybody. And
It's
like it
fair.
was said, we already do have it out publicly facing. So I want to make sure that people know it is out there for you to watch. It's not that I don't want you to see it because you're here. I know that's partly why you came here, but I don't want to give you a buggy video. It would just it would hurt my heart. It really, really would, because I thought it might happen that way, and then once it did, I don't want to waste your time. But I can tell you that the interview segment will not have that problem, so you don't have to worry about that. But for the video, we might want to just go ahead and talk about some of those abilities and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Let's talk about high level. What is Bucky like to play? He is a ranged specialist and lethal up close. The fantasy we're trying to fulfill with him is that he is a master assassin. Chris, do you want to dive into a little bit more of high level, what he's like to play, and maybe how he feels comparable to the other heroes?
Yeah, I really
go
like
in
it
depth.
with Bucky. So he's got a solid ranged kit. So he's got actually 3
Oh,
options for his
goodness.
ranged attacks. He's got a 3-round burst that you can actually charge for like a
Show us a
sniper
clip.
attack. We've got a full auto, as well as a grenade launcher. So we sort of fulfill the power that people sort of expect from Winter Soldier on the ranged front. And then on the melee side, he's got the ability
Glad to see
to
the stream
block
is
and
holding up
parry with
well,
his
you know
metal
what I mean?
arm. He's got his
What I am
intrinsic
gonna do,
attacks
guys,
allow
though,
you to use his knife in combat
is
as well,
change up
which
the
is one of the ways that
thumbnail
you
just
can
a
apply
bit
status.
because
And one of the things I really love is he has his power attack combo actually is a ranged attack. So he pulls out the shotgun, then he does sort of a spray arc of bullets in front of him, he does a piercing strike, and then he does the grenade launch. So in some ways, it's a lot like
she's always smiling. She reminds me of myself.
Hawkeye's got his bag of tricks, which lets you do a number of different ranged attacks through your power attack combo. And this one feels really great because you can even start it from in the air and sort of do this shotgun blast.
The grenade launcher, I think, is my favorite weapon. I'm excited for everyone to try. It can be upgraded so that the grenades that come out stick to things. You can remote detonate them. So it adds a level of strategy to gameplay or strategic thinking that you don't necessarily get with other heroes.
Absolutely, I really like it. It's similar in some ways to Kate's power attack gives you the ability to do like a sticky mine as well with her arrow. So I really like that. As a prior Kate main, this one makes my heart really glow.
Do we want to talk about his heroics?
Yeah. So I like his. This actually ties into sort of the range build that I like for him. His ultimate. Allows you to tap into his Winter Soldier programming and sort of do additional damage while you're playing. It actually marks all enemies within a radius with mark for assassination, which allows
is like
you to
instant takedowns, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's not just for you, it actually marks them for anyone in your strike team. So if you're playing online, you got multiple people, boom, you can clear out an entire squadron pretty quickly with that. I also like that one of the things that you can spec with it is unlimited ammunition for the duration of his ultimate heroic. So me being someone who loves auto fire, is full auto, being able to spec that and then go, okay, you know what? I've applied status with my signature attack, and now I'm gonna do just straight battery damage for like the full duration. Oh, that is so satisfying.
Damn it!
I got a question in chat. I can't see the username now, but they were asking about traversal. How does he traverse comparable to other heroes on our lineup?
So he does have a wall run similar to Captain America or Black Panther, and he also has a grapple for traversal similar to Widow. So you can sort of see the influence these two other characters have had in his training.
Jones099 says it's official. Make Vanessa an Avengers
No,
and make
no.
her next DLC.
We're not doing this. I deal with this on my channel enough. You're not gonna bully me. I just got here.
Yeah.
I just got here, and everyone's asking, what is she laughing at? Y'all are outrageous in chat right now. Oh my god. But please, I'm here just for like the tech stuff and whatnot. Please let Hunter and Chris do their things. I don't know which way I need to point. This way. They're here to do the things. I'm here for moral support and ask stuff when I can, but please, I don't know that I would make a good Avenger. Please don't put me in the game.
Vanessa, you are a superhero.
I am not.
Chris, give Vanessa flight. Yeah, let us know in chat what abilities you think Vanessa will have as an Avenger.
We're not.
I'm expecting full gear kits by the end of the show.
Some like costume variants, or some outfit variants, right?
Well, as you put her head down, I see that we now need a plaid patterned outfit.
The stream is about Bucky, not me.
Do we have any?
Much like Vanessa disappears when we talk about making her a hero, Bucky's support heroic tech soldier nonsense actually grants you an invisibility buff, and you can spec it out to do either shock damage to adjacent enemies or for your entire squadron. Which is...
Yeah, chat loves that, Chris. Do we have any... Before we go to the next section, do we have any questions from chat about abilities or traversal or Bucky's kit?
Well, I do have one more heroic that we can talk about too. We do have his assault heroic, which is the ability for him to call in an airstrike, which is actually pretty darn cool. So you actually watch him toss out a grenade, and it actually leaves sort of the smoke marker, and then you can watch this airstrike come down, and you can spec it a few different ways to sort of widen the area of effect. You can spec it to sort of draw people in. And you can also spec it to apply mark for assassination. So you get multiple ways that you can sort of bring this one mechanic in. So you can activate it via your ultimate. You can spec into it with your assault heroic.
I'm seeing questions about his knife combo. What other ways does he use the knife in combat?
A lot of it comes down to his intrinsic. So he's got an intrinsic attack that is similar to Black Panther. So you build up a charge through blocks, through parries, through other skills that you can spec into. And then if you hold that right trigger while you're doing different attacks, it actually modifies what they do. And that allows you to add these sort of knife attacks to his melee kit. And that is one of the attacks that gear will then apply different status perks to.
I'm also seeing some questions about, does he feel like Bucky, or I'm sorry, does he feel like Cap? Does he feel like Widow? To that, I would say we try to make, when we were designing him, we were trying to make him feel like a character who trained alongside Captain America and trained alongside Black Widow. So you see some of that narrative thread in there, and we're going to talk about that a little bit in the next segment.
Yeah, I would say that he feels like Bucky on the sticks. So he feels like he's his own hero, but you can feel like the influences of other heroes on him. So you will see his ability sort of block and parry. You will see him use some of the tech to go invisible. But at the end of the day, when we first sat down and said, like, what's Winter Soldier supposed to feel like? He feels like almost this, I think of him as a unstoppable machine who's sort of like marching forward towards his target and making sure that like he's going to assassinate that target at all costs. And the skills and the different pieces of combat all lend itself to that. And that's one of the points we kept going back to make sure that does this feel like we expect Bucky to feel like.
Awesome. Unless you have anything else you'd like to share, Chris, I think we should go into our segment with Scott Porter and Layla from Narrative. We're going to be hanging around in chat. This segment was pre-recorded. Let us know if you have any issues with audio, and we'll modify on the fly. But let's go ahead and jump right in. Remember, stay around until after the pre-recorded segment because we're going to be live again talking outfits and showing off all the outfits. And again,
we'll throw one more teaser in because we've got an outfit that we're going to show off that wasn't in the blog.
Oh ho ho! A teaser.
It's very true. But yes.
Awesome. So hang around. Vanessa, do we want to start the next segment then?
Yes, I will go ahead. I'm going to put up a quick BRB screen for everybody. So I would advise you take about a minute or two to get up, grab yourself some water, maybe some snacks. And
some
then
coffee.
Some coffee. And then we are going to go ahead and get our interview with Scott going in just a moment.
Okay. I'm going to kind of take this time to self-record. I'm sorry. I want to change the thumbnail. Because I feel like people are not coming. One second. Let's change it. I can't get an image replacement. Hold on, guys. The reason I'm doing that is because I have some stuff out and it's got some personal stuff I can't see, so we're not gonna try not to miss it. It's gonna take me a few minutes. So top all the stuff, guys. I'm gonna find a bunch of jobs. So hopefully something comes through, man. I've been trying to get my money up. More money means more for the YouTube channel. I am evil.
All right. Our celebration of Winter Soldier and Update 2.7 continues. Today, I'm joined with Layla, the incredible Layla from our narrative team. Layla, how you doing?
Oh, stop it. Hello. Hi, everyone.
We're also joined today by the legendary, the one and only, Scott Porter. How you doing, Scott?
I don't know about legendary, but no, I appreciate you guys.
I'm not ready.
Definitely legendary. You're like, you star in one of the only TV shows I think my dad has ever watched the whole way through, Friday Night Lights. So it's a big thing.
I was going to peg him for Heart of Dixie. No, it was FNL. Okay, all right, I see.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Well, yeah. It's so, Scott, you're voicing Bucky for Update 2.7.
Come on.
Layla, why don't you give us a quick, set the stage. Where in Update 2.7 do we find Bucky? Where has he been? And perhaps how does Aim's cloning lab play into how we bring him into our evolving narrative?
Yeah, so
Hold on, Layla.
Bucky's been having a hard time, to put it in an understated way. You'll find him once you complete the cloning labs. You'll discover that Monica has decided that he would be of use to her as her personal assassin.
Okay.
And so the Avengers go, complete cloning lab, and then they find him being kept down there, and they bring him back to the Avengers, and the heroic mission chain story is going to start where, like Bucky's back. He's like, wow, Steve, you're alive. Like, holy crap, Nat, I haven't seen you in a long time. I don't know about joining the Avengers. Because of course that's what Steve especially is going to immediately want. Like, come back on board with us. And he's not really that sure yet.
Now, Scott, tell us a little bit about your background, because this isn't your first time playing Bucky, or your second.
Yeah, no, I've played Bucky in a couple of different iterations, and I've played him as both youthful, exuberant Bucky from World War II era before ending up on ice the very first time in Lego Avengers, as well as a post-Winter Soldier version of Bucky in Lego Avengers as well. But that was hilarious in nature. He was on, somebody had said the words and he was hallucinating and he thought a teddy bear was president. And so it was not a really serious take on Winter Soldier. But I've also in the past voiced Winter Soldier in a fighting game where he was nothing but business and just violent and out, out for blood. And so I had run explosive exploration of who he is in battle. But what really excited me about this project was getting to play the smaller moments. I auditioned for this thing, I think way back in like 2019, actually. I mean, it was a long time ago. And I didn't know it was Winter Soldier at the time, but the writing, because, they mask everything. So it wasn't Bucky or, Winter Soldier or James even. I can't remember the name on the audition, but
Billy?
It was Billy. You're right, Billy. So I was auditioning for Billy for unnamed game. It was some project code name, something or other.
Every voice actor's dream, right? To audition for Billy.
But it spoke about having found himself.
Okay, I got the
in some facility, having waken up from what seemed like a horrible nightmare. And I started piecing things together and started figuring that it might be Bucky. But they were these small moments of regret and guilt and admission. And to me, that's the really interesting stuff with Winter Soldier. And in the books, Ed Brubaker dealt with so much of that. And I'm a big fan of that run. And I love how subtle all of the interactions with Bucky and a lot of the other cast members of Avengers was told on the page. So I was just super excited. So yeah, I played him before, but this was a whole different ball game.
So speaking of comic runs, one of our followers on Discord, Primus Addy 1910. This is a question for both of you. Are there any specific comic book runs that have inspired our take on Bucky? So Layla, for you, what comics did you look to inform this iteration of the character? And for you, Scott, what kind of what comics or stories resonated with you when you were trying to find Bucky's voice?
Yeah, I'm looking at a list off to the side here because there's a couple. Obviously, Ed Brubaker's Winter Soldier run that like really brought so much more depth to the character that had been, kind of like the teen sidekick, like the Gee Willikers cat type of like character back in the old days. So that one obviously did a lot. It also really informed how we looked at the relationship between him and Nat, especially. There's also Captain America 2004 to 2011, Captain America and Bucky 2004 to 2011, and there's some issues in there like in the 20s, like the 33 to 41, where you really see Bucky like struggling with, in this case, it's the death of Captain America and how he feels pulled in two directions of like, I could never measure up to him, right? Like Steve was like the better man than I was in any regard. And then also being pulled like, I will not let anyone else carry this shield. Yeah, I thought that was a really good look at building the base for the kinds of internal struggles that Bucky deals with. And then Hawkeye and the Winter Soldier, the 2017 Tales of Suspense run. Just like their dynamic of like just Clint being like this, like constant like petty jabs, like testing the waters, and Bucky's like, who even are you? I'm only here because of Nat. I'm tolerating you at best. Don't get on my nerves. And like watching them work together inform some of the dialogue between those two that you'll be hearing in game.
Scott, how about you? What iterations of the character or comic book runs have you looked at? One of our followers, Zach O from Discord, asked if Sebastian Stan's portrayal in the MCU was one of your inspirations, or what other inspirations you had.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing when you take up the mantle of a hero that is widely loved, and Winter Soldier is no different from a character like Star-Lord, who I've voiced in a number of different games for Marvel. When I did Star-Lord, I never wanted to be a Chris Pratt sound-alike. I wanted my Star-Lord to be a little bit more Midwestern in nature, a little bit more skittish in a way. My Star-Lord wasn't afraid to like scream at a very high pitch when frightened by something. I always felt like my Star-Lord at the time was just like a little, putting on an act around these other heroes. And the way I approached Winter Soldier wasn't much different. I didn't really borrow from Sebastian Stan's very quiet, very measured performance of Bucky, I feel like, in the films, and he's wonderful. But the last thing you want to do is try and copy somebody and then fail doing it, because you don't at that point of time pay respect to anybody. If you're doing a poor imitation of somebody else's work, you're not really honoring them, and you're not honoring your own instincts as well.
Okay, guys.
I used the base of Bucky from the books, of his confliction on whether or not he could ever be a hero again. A lot of that in that 2004 to 2011 run that was mentioned earlier has something to do. I'm a comic fan. I've read him for years, but I also just took a lot of cues from the writing that this team put together for the game. And that's really where I keyed off of. And what I got a lot out of the audition scenes was this was a very vengeful Bucky. It wasn't, he is full of vengeance, and he's trying to quell this rage inside of him, because this hasn't just happened to him once at this point. This is something that for Bucky is recurring, and it's just, he has a lot of self-loathing because of it. And so I came from this a little bit of a darker place, I think, than I expected to, but that was just because the writing gave me the springboard for that. I loved every moment of playing Bucky and finding the nuances of that character in this game. And I was really surprised how quietly we are able to tell it. I think there's a lot of really quiet moments with Bucky that I didn't expect in this game, and I hope the player base really appreciates.
Yeah, that's a great segue to one of our questions from Discord. User Johnny Blazeit asks, how much influence in direction did you have as you were voicing him? What was that collaboration like between you and the narrative team?
Oh man, listen, this is a complicated story that you all have built, and I definitely needed help with where Bucky had come in and out of people's lives, and take the cues for the context of these relationships and then spin out of that. It was a truly collaborative effort, and it was so cool to be a part of that. Sometimes games aren't that way. Sometimes you are there and you're playing a character who is, for lack of a better term, a hammer for a certain point or a certain perspective or something, and they're just very blunt in the execution, and whatever team that's designing it wants you to just do the thing they hired you to do. That wasn't the case here. It was really, really cool. We had a lot of time where we would converse during sessions, which isn't always a lot. It wasn't, that's something that's not always time that's given in a session, because the way we record is you get 4 sessions, you get 4 hours for a session with an actor, and you need to get as many lines as you can recorded. But I think in this case, the context was so important, and they really allowed for that air to be there and those conversations to be had. And I think it really deepened the character in a huge way.
Do you want to speak to that at all, Layla, about, recording day, working together with Scott, and what that collaboration was like from your side?
Yeah, so I was honestly I was quietly ecstatic when like the first time Scott, you said like, hey, so this line, like I'm trying to get into his head, like what exactly is going on, like when he's saying this internally, and then you'd provide suggestions like bringing in certain parts of his past and like the kinds of interactions he's had with like the people he's talking to. And I was just like so hyped the whole time. I was like, oh my God, like
rush this stream,
Scott is
guys.
really
So
getting into Bucky like as a
everybody feels
person,
like I rushed it,
like
and
not just
I
like
kinda
a
did.
role, but really like who he is, how his psyche works. And yeah, like obviously the lines are part of it, but the delivery is also part of it. And then the collaboration, I think, really made something special that like brought a new level of life to Bucky. And for that, I'm very grateful.
So, like, let's speak to the finished product for a second. Layla, we have a new heroic mission chain in Avengers featuring Bucky. So what can players expect from that, which you wrote?
Yes, I did. So this this went to thank you. Perhaps like some of Scott, what you talked about with like the quieter
I'm
moments.
gonna let them talk right now. I'm still gonna be watching. I
I
just
wanted
want
to
to go on mute
focus
because
on
I'm
his
getting a bunch of phone
relationships,
calls.
like the
So
two
if
most
I have
important
phone, I
people
just
in
don't
his
want
life,
nobody
Steve and
to,
Nat. And
So luckily, it
in the
should
heroic
just
mission
be
chain, like
recording.
especially Nat, they'll get some moments where they're just talking, like he's kind of working through his self-doubt and his need for like he has a need for vengeance against the people who did this to him, but also in a way like against himself for what he's done to people, like regardless of whether or not it was his choice, right? It wasn't, but he has a really hard time letting go of that. And so you'll see him like throughout like the couple of missions that we have, like kind of keeps like, I remember saying this in session, like pushing the goalpost, right? He accomplishes something and it's like not enough, like he can't really forgive himself yet, and then like there's another, and then keeps pushing it. When it's finally done, he's kind of left in like this quiet, not exactly like triumph. It's like he finally has to think like, I have a future ahead of me. I have choices to make, and how can I like move forward with that if the past is still dragging me down? And so I think the heroic mission chain, hopefully it gets across that like he works through the internal with like the people closest to him in like the very Bucky way that he does.
One of our users on Twitter at Purified1989 asks, "Is this version of Bucky an anti-hero?" How would you both respond to that? Because in the comics and other media, he sometimes is portrayed as an anti-hero. Do you think that applies to our take on Bucky?
Ooh, I'm gonna let Layla answer first. I know where I came from on it, but
okay. So like at first I was like, this is kind of hard question, right? Like, because then you have to like look into anti-hero, like what that means exactly. And that doesn't really have like a super concrete definition. It's a little nebulous, right? Like for some anti-heroes, it's a person who does the right thing for the wrong reasons. Sometimes it's a person who does the wrong thing for the right reasons, kind of like a tragic hero doomed to fail type of thing. But I think with Bucky, it's that he struggles with feeling like he's good enough, that he can do good, because he understands like the pull of things that are not good. In this case, with our Bucky, it's vengeance, right? Like he feels so strongly the pull of it, like keeps him up at night. And on some level, he knows like, he should be letting go of this. Like he looks at Steve as like the paragon of goodness and like how much he doesn't measure up. But in that space between him and Steve, he knows that like the thing that creates the rift is that like he wants it. He wants the vengeance. Like it would feel good and satisfying. And I think that's what taps into the anti-hero. He's not necessarily doing right things, wrong reasons, wrong things, right reasons. It's like the internal struggle of knowing what's good and then knowing what is enticing.
I think for me, this question is all rooted in, Captain America has evolved beyond his World War II symbol, American symbol. You know, when you're at war, things are done and no one questions it because you're at war. I mean, it's dirty and it's bloody and it's awful. And Bucky was there. I mean, he served in a world war. He saw death around him. I'm not saying that he's immune to it, but he wasn't given the same opportunity on the other side to become more of a noble hero. I think when we're talking about comic book heroes and you talk about the noble heroes, the men and women who refuse to kill or harm even the vilest of villains, versus those that have experienced what life or death really truly is. Bucky has experienced death not only of himself, but of his best friends. And he is from an era where killing to make the world right was widely accepted. And if that makes him an anti-hero, then I suppose he is in a way. He wants so badly to be like Captain America now, but he has such self-doubt that he could ever possibly do that, because where Cap has righted the ship and has been so noble in this paragon of what is right in the world, Winter Soldier woke up and did horrible things, not of his own volition, but he feels like he can never wash that off of him. So it's a real struggle, and that's a really loaded question, I think. I hope the person that asked it is satisfied with the answer. I do believe that I think Bucky is an anti-hero in a couple of different ways. He's willing to get his hands really dirty to make the world a better place, but he also doesn't believe that he's a true hero and that he can ever be again. And so he's an anti-hero in kind of a couple of different ways.
I imagine that you, Scott, are not all dark and twisty like Bucky, but Twitter user Geove6 asks, what characteristics of yourself do you think you have in common with Bucky? And did you pull from any of that when you were finding his voice?
Yeah, you know, man, there's parts of every character and every single human being that's ever played a role. I mean, there's just it doesn't matter. There's parts of us that are dark and that we are ashamed of, and that we have regrets. We all have regrets in life. And that's where I came from with Bucky was, and he's also in a much lighter tone, like kind of like an actor. Like you go in and you do an audition and you walk out hoping that what you did was what the other person was hoping you would do. And I feel like Bucky's reentrance into the Avengers is a lot of him doing something and then looking to the heroes around him, hoping that they approve of what he did, as opposed to just making the decisions and doing what he thinks is right. He's questioning everything he does for a little while here. He has a very clear desire for revenge, but at the same time, like he's holding back for a number of reasons, and a lot of it has to do with his best friend being back and the person he looks up to most, and Nat being there constantly, who he at sometimes can't forgive, or he can't forgive himself, so he can't be open with her. And then you've got people like Clint running around who he's making decisions to try and be better than, so there's a lot of really interesting interactions. And I think that was the most fun part of playing Bucky was, look, the story is amazing. And going through that journey, that's a very personal thing for Bucky, is awesome. But then like just walking around areas and talking to all of the other heroes and the small interactions that you have with other heroes, the way he approaches each and every one of them, we took the time to really build out how he sees each of these people and these different heroes. And, whether it's Miss Marvel or, Spidey or any of these there are some really surprising interactions, and that stuff I loved. But yeah, I'd say I pulled kind of that self-doubt that I carry as an actor all the time and put it cleanly into James in this particular situation.
Our community loves the banter that you mentioned that new heroes have between other heroes in our social hubs. Were there any interactions that you are excited for other people to experience, or maybe that were fun, Layla, that you're looking forward to them to experience as well?
Scott, you wanna start? I'm curious which ones were your favorites.
I mean, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know. Like he gets introduced to Dungeons and Dragons at some point, and to watch him try and process what Dungeons and Dragons is probably my most favorite thing that I experienced on the game, because it was a little break of levity for Bucky, which I think was so necessary, because everything around him is so heavy, whether it's self-imposed or not. He's just still dealing with so much stuff that other people just can't understand outside of Nat for the most part, and somewhat Cap, so it's those, I think, his moments with the younger heroes, because that's another thing. This kid, he's a kid. Like, Bucky had his childhood like taken from him time and time again. So when I had the chance to converse with like other young heroes, I kind of was like, I started to piece together, oh man, like Bucky is like, he's a young guy, he's a young kid from Brooklyn who was thrust into the heart of war, and then, brought off ice to do horrible things, and then brought off ice again to a world that he didn't recognize. And he had to grow up entirely too fast. So I think the interactions with the younger heroes is my favorite stuff. Sorry.
What about you, Layla?
Yeah, that the interaction with about the D&D stuff, that was definitely top of my list up there.
Yes.
I I also just love some of the ones with Clint. They're so funny. Like, Clint is just like, they have this I feel like it's like Clint thinks they're rivals, and Bucky is just like constantly irritated by it. I really like those lines. I also like the line, not to toot my own horn of it, but like in the heroic mission chain, Bucky and Cap, they still have that, like, they were like best of friends during the war, right? They had each other's back no matter what. And in some sense, they were kind of like the only people like each other could count on, like without like just like full faith, right? And then you see like a bit of that. I wanted to put a little bit of that dynamic back, like, so it's not just like, super like formal. They like joke around a little bit, and it was nice seeing like Bucky able to kind of go back to that, because he wants that again, really, like, deep down, whether or not he's going to admit it.
So you both have mentioned Nat, and I don't think we've touched on it yet, but Layla, is there romance in Update 2.7? What's the story here? The people want to know.
Oh, this is a tough bind you put me in, Hunter, because like I would like to say more, but then like, do I really want to spoil? The answer is like, it's the
The
kind
answer
that's
could be
like,
tune in tomorrow
tune in tomorrow.
when Update 2.7 launches on all platforms for all players.
You know what? I'll take that. I hope you won't be disappointed. Winter Widow shippers, I'm with you there.
We have a question from Discord user Gatusi. Scott, what's your favorite thing about the Winter Soldier in this game?
Oh man, there's so much. First of all, do the Gatusi. It sounds like that old dance from the doo-wop days.
Yeah.
I just love how layered this version of Bucky is. I think my favorite thing was how many situations this narrative team put him into and made him face, because there's so many different colors of him on display. It was really a joy to play so many notes of a human that you don't always get to do. To go back to the point that I made at the beginning of the interview, is just sometimes you're there for a very specific reason as an actor in a game, and you're needed to do something by the narrative team to help push the leading characters further on down the road. This wasn't that case at all. This was an exploration of a character who has been through so much that almost nobody can understand. And we got to show a lot of different sides of Bucky. And I think that was one of the cool things, the coolest thing for me.
Layla, how about you? Favorite thing about Bucky in our game?
I find him personally quite relatable. Like the pursuing things that perhaps like kind of aren't good for you, because like it would be satisfying, right? Like you would think it'd be closure, but deep down, like it's not gonna actually bring you anything good. And so like his struggle between like forgiving himself, like trying to not necessarily forgive, but like let go of the things that haunt him from his past. uh I think that's part of what makes Bucky a fantastic character in the comics. And I hope that comes across in our version of Bucky too. um and then also, probably my other favorite thing about Bucky in our game, actually, Ska, is you. I could literally cannot. Um, I can't really put into words. Like I was just so elated seeing him, like the way that you brought him to life and like how much you added to him. And yeah, I cannot see anybody else being our Bucky.
Oh man, that's thank you so much. That's awesome to hear. I just wanted to put care into that character because I could tell you all have done the same. So it's I'm gonna verbally retweet back to you the things you just said to me.
Thank you.
We had a question and I can't find it now. So we're just gonna say courtesy of Gattusi. The question was, I remember, if you could play any other superhero, who would it be? Now, before we answer that, I have here a list of all the superheroes that that you have played to date, and there are many.
Okay.
It includes Cyclops, Aquaman, Nightwing, Bucky Barnes times like 10, a whole bunch of Spider People, Harry Osborn, Gwen Stacy's dad, Peter Quill, Robin, White Wolf, and The Flash. So those aren't on the table.
I mean, my answer is super easy. Depending on where you pop into Bobby Drake's life, I would love to voice Iceman at some point. He is somebody that, in reading the X books for such a long time, deals with things in humor to keep himself shielded from having to deal with them deeply in any way, shape, or form. And he's someone for so many years was, I think, somewhat comfortable with this role as a hero. He has mega level mutant powers. His ability to manipulate water in any shape or form and freeze these molecules. I mean, we've seen him before the Age of Apocalypse freeze half of New York City and put it into a second ice age. I mean, this guy is that powerful and he's that scared of it, but he deals with all of it with an air of humor. And to me, that is like my dream character to play. Absolutely love that character. Bucket list for me, The Flash was on that for a long time. And now I've been able to play a really cool version of The Flash in another game. So I think for right now, Bucky, Bucky was on that list too as like a really conflicted character. But I think next in line was Bobby Drake for me. So Iceman.
I mean, you've done so many heroes. What does it mean to you to kind of develop these characters and fill the shoes of these characters that are super and superheroes and people that others look up to? What is it that makes you gravitate toward that kind of role, Scott?
Man, I don't know. I think just growing up and reading books my entire life, I was a comic fan back when it wasn't widely accepted. I don't know. I was a kid from Omaha, Nebraska who loved kung fu movies and hip hop, and I had an older foster brother who was into a lot of things that other kids in Nebraska weren't into. And I was also like, he came in and out of my life, and after he left, it was something I really held on to, was just reading these comic books and these escaping into these characters' shoes and going on these grand, very dangerous tales, but that were set in modern day. And so for me, it's just kind of reconnecting with my childhood and learning so many lessons through the pages of comic books. You know, I didn't always gravitate towards the really noble heroes when I was younger. I loved X-Men and Teen Titans and kids who were making mistakes constantly and learning from them, as opposed to the untouchables like a Superman or a Captain America. They just seemed like they were adults, but these other characters seemed like they were kids, and they were making mistakes and making right and correcting their failures and all these things, which is when you're growing up, you're trying to do those exact same things and find your way through the world. And I did it through comic books and through the friendships that I developed because of comics. And quite frankly, there was a lot of people that when I was in high school, people didn't expect me to be best friends with. I was best friends with because we had a shared interest, and it was these books. And so for me, that's really it. I never got to play a superhero on, the silver screen or anything, but it's pretty cool because it actually allows me to play a lot of different heroes that explore a lot of different facets of this industry through voiceover work. So whether it's a really, really noble hero or a really scarred hero like Bucky, it's just really cool to examine them, because I think that's my favorite books always humanized heroes in a huge way. And we do the same thing through games now. And it's just been really, really neat to see.
So rumor has it that voice acting is not your only talent. I've heard from 3 different people now that you can beatbox. Is this fact or fiction, Scott?
It's fact. It's fact. I got my start in the industry doing an acapella. I had an acapella group in high school, and we were a barbershop quartet who won our talent show. And then the school booed us off the stage because they didn't think we should have won. So when we went to enter the next year, they told us we had to do something more modern. We couldn't do barbershop quartet stuff again. So we added a 5th member.
Just kidding.
And I started beatboxing. It was something I learned to do when I was a kid, listening to hip hop in the middle of Nebraska. There's a guy named Reddy Rock C, who was DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince's beatboxer. He did a song called Human Video Game, actually, which I encourage everybody to go listen to, where he does Donkey Kong as the underlying beat for Will Smith the rap over. And so I had taught myself at an early age to beatbox. And then my first ever paying gig was in an acapella children's sing-along in Animal Kingdom in Florida. And then eventually it took me to New York. I did a show called Toxic Audio off Broadway, and we won a bunch of awards, and I was beatboxing in that, and then got a job actually acting in a show called Altar Boys. And that's when I got my agent and became an actor, which came out of nowhere. So I didn't go to school for this. I never was in drama, and I didn't go to a theater school. I went to school to be a structural engineer and play football, and somehow ended up where I am now. So yeah, the beatboxing, was a big thing. And my old group Voice Play, I encourage everybody to go check them out on YouTube. As a matter of fact, I did the Halo theme song with them not too long ago, but we did it a cappella. And you can go and you can check that out. Voice Play Halo, and you can see a little bit. In the middle of it, I do a little bit of beatboxing, but yeah, just weird stuff. I was an only child till I was 15, so I could do all types of sounds. I could play electric guitar with my mouth. Like weird sounds and stuff that I, just picked up along the way.
That was really good. That was really good.
That was impressive.
Do you do that to warm up when you're getting ready to go into the recording booth? Some just beat boxes, get the lips moving.
You know what, man? I beatboxed for years and years and years, and it's much like doing voiceover. You have to figure out how to do it in a healthy way, because you can really rip your voice apart if you're. And I've said this in interviews. When I was Winter Soldier in Marvel vs. Capcom, I was in pain for the next 2 days because it was a 4-hour session of just screaming at the top of my lungs, and I wasn't aware of how to do that in a healthy way yet. That was very early in my voiceover career, and the beatboxing was the same way. I was beatboxing, and then I had to be beatboxing and singing in the same show, and I found that my voice had given out on me, so I had to learn how to safely beatbox. So now, to get the old motors running, and the lips and tongue, I do a little beatboxing. I don't do the red leather, yellow leather like everybody else. I just like little sounds.
I don't have any more questions for you. Is there anything else either one of you want to share about working on Bucky, what you're hoping for fans. Layla?
Well, obviously, I hope everyone likes likes what we've done with the character. I really love Bucky. And oh gosh, you put me on the spot, man. Yeah, I'm just hoping that this gives a new but still authentic look at the character who's been, in several different forms of media and with a really long history. So, yeah, I hope that I've done him some kind of justice. I know like the work that Hannah, Nicole, and John have put into him already definitely have. I just hope I was able to fill those shoes and that everyone likes it.
Scott?
Yeah, for me, it's just this was so cool, 2 years later to be able to finally fulfill, when I auditioned, and it's one of my favorite auditions I've ever actually done. I was I was on the road and I had to do it in a closet and like this Airbnb when I was shooting something somewhere. And, I was just so out of my element, but the text on the page was so incredible. And I was like, look, I can't get in to lay down a real audition. Can I just do it on my phone? Can I just send it in? And they said, yeah. And I sent it in. And it's one of my favorite auditions I ever did because it's a phone call. The audition, just to share it with everybody out there, was a phone call that Bucky makes when he first wakes up. He doesn't know where he is, and he has to call someone reluctantly. And he says and the scene still exists, so I don't want to spoil anything. He says, look, this other person would have been my first call, but they're not around anymore, so it's got to be you. And there's so much in that right there of who he is, who he feels he can talk to, all of his regret, all of his rage. It's just these really cool pages. And then he went away. And, in this industry, things move and shift, and sometimes they go away for good. And I was just so glad that Winter Soldier came back around, because I wanted to explore Bucky in this way. I knew the depth that was going to be applied to this character just from those audition scenes. And, it's just a really cool thing to see something that you thought may have never be coming back around for it to actually happen. And then also be this friggin' cool. So I'm just excited to finally share this version of Bucky with everybody.
How many more versions of Bucky are you going to play, Scott, in the future?
Look, man, Marvel is a really cool company because of there's a trust in everybody that works together on these projects, and you become a part of this fabric, this Marvel quilt. And they'll pull your little string every now and then, and you'll get a call for a really cool project. I mean, I don't know. I've done Star-Lord 5 or 6 times now, and I wouldn't mind doing Bucky that many times as well. I've seen him in the silliest of iterations, the most bloodthirsty of iterations, and now the deepest of iterations that I've ever seen of him. So I'd be more than happy to play him again.
Well, thank you so much for both of you for sharing. We are so excited to bring Bucky to all of you watching tomorrow. I guess, Scott, before we go, is there what's next for you? Is there anything you're working on now, or where can people follow you?
Yeah, it's the nature of this business, right? I have so much in upcoming, but can't say when any of it's coming out. Ginny and Georgia season 2 will be coming out soon on Netflix. A musical comedy that I did for Hulu called Up Here that I'm very excited about, with the composers from WandaVision and Frozen and the director of Hamilton. It's just got a stacked cast of just Broadway veterans and Tony Award winners, and it's very funny and irreverent. And hopefully that'll be coming out sometime in the spring. And then a couple of big games still coming up, but I can't talk about them. I can never talk about any of the game stuff.
You just had a very small title called God of War Ragnarok come out, I believe, right?
Yes.
No big deal.
Playing a much different style of character in Heimdall, which was, again, we get to explore facets of ourselves as humans through these characters that are created. And as long as they're created with care, we get to really dive deep. But that was a character he was a hammer. he was there for a reason for another character, unlike what Bucky was. So it's very, very cool to play that character. But yeah, I've got 3 more games that are waiting to come up. And if you want to figure out when those are dropping, I'll share as soon as I can on Instagram. At Skittish Kid is where people can find me if they're interested.
Awesome. We'll tag you on all the accounts. Layla, you have some short stories coming up. The Winter Soldier saga continues, right?
Yes, it does. Man, I love Bucky so much. I was like, we did all this work for him for 2-7. I was like, more, like, need more, give me more stuff. And I was like, oh, I can give you more stuff. So I did. And yeah, just sent Hunter a message being like, hey, can I write some short stories? And Hunter, being like the cool man he is, was like, heck yeah, bro. So we'll be coming out with a couple of those, a few chapters that'll go into Bucky's history in the universe of our game. Yeah.
And this will be going out periodically on the Avengers blog. So stay tuned to our socials for that. We're going to take a short break, and then coming up next, we're going to dive into some of the outfits that Bucky wears in 2-7, and we might have 1 or 2 more surprises in store after. So stay tuned.
What the hell? I never liked it that some of the heroes kind of glow, like Captain America and Bucky. I kind of wish you turned that off for certain characters. Because Bucky doesn't glow, even if his suit's made out of on that. So I kind of just like the glow for some of the heroes. Hulk and Thor and maybe some heroes, even Spider-Man, I don't think he should glow. It was kind of weird for me. Black Panther with the stuff around him, I understand because he has that kinetic energy, so certain heroes don't like this. Yeah, guys, I'm probably gonna do a stream tonight with Marvel's The Avengers, and we might be able to do some raids or something, man. I haven't done the raid because the game is so buggy, so people crash, and I just don't have time for that. Yeah, man, Bucky looks really good, man. They kind of gave Cap a new suit. I really wish they gave him more of a better iconic suit. So.
And I believe that means that we are back. Sorry for the abrupt stopping of the chill music there, everyone. I know it was very soothing, relaxing, bring you into the mood to get you a nice cuppa, maybe get ready for your downloads, but
it really was.
We back. Also, I've decided I'm going to send Scott this pin because I resonate with this on a deep level. I don't know if y'all can see it.
I can't see what that is. Does that say NDA?
Oh, the green screen's messing it up. It says all my best work is under NDA.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, go send Scott and Layla some love on their social channels. They both did an incredible job bringing that character to life.
All right, well, we want to see.
But now we are moving forward to outfits. So we're going to show off. We shared an outfits blog this week, diving into each of the outfits that are coming for Bucky. So we're going to go through each of those outfits. We're going to show them off. Going to share how you can earn or where to find each of them, and we'll have something exciting at the end.
Skin.
You want to bring up the first one?
I can.
Sounds good.
It's a
Do you have
fucking
the
skin. Watch
deep cover
this.
outfit ready?
It's gonna be the.
I
Oh,
believe that is the one that is currently on the screen.
that is the one
Excellent.
from Civil War.
Cool.
Kinda
So
like
yes, this is the starting outfit that we will have for Winter Soldier. This is inspired by him being undercover, trying to fly under the radar with the leather jacket, the jeans, the ball cap, and the sunglasses.
Okay,
He
I
does still
actually
have the
don't
metal
like
arm
this. This
there,
looks
but
nice.
covered up as much as he sort of can to make sure he can fly under the radar. And you can sort of see some of the inspirations from some of the MCU undercover pieces that he's had as well. So this nicely sort of pulls together some of the comic DNA and some of the movie DNA into sort of our crystal interpretation.
Yeah, and I saw someone ask what kind it was in chat, what kind of weapon that is. Actually, Bucky, we wanted to make him feel like a master assassin, so we created like a weapon that morphs into a bunch of different things. So it's a grenade launcher, it's a shotgun, it's an assault rifle, all in one.
And don't forget, it has burst auto in some cases.
That's right.
You can burst.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
that don't sound too good.
Up our iconic outfit next.
Oh, this one's really good.
Yeah, this one's really freaking good. This
You
is
are
my
good
favorite.
to go.
Excellent, excellent. So this is Bucky's iconic outfit. You will be able to unlock this one through playing his heroic mission chain. So we are once again allowing you to unlock that crystal designed look for him. And there will be actually a number of different variants for this that are available to unlock through his hero card. We have a couple color variants on that, as well as one of my favorites. We actually have this outfit with the domino mask as well, which lets you sort of pull more of his sort of comic DNA in. That's one. Oh, we've got the picture for that. That's awesome.
I'm slick. I'm swift.
Something wrong with his hair. His hairline messed up.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is a crystal original design. This is when we do research for our heroes, we take inspiration from all of their comics runs and we try to make a hero that feels familiar while also new. So some of the features of this outfit are kind of original ideas for the character.
Please fix his hair first.
Absolutely.
Like he's trying to, he's someone shaved the front part of his head.
People love the domino mask.
Nice. Yeah,
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. Yeah.
I'm thrilled. When I put together my costume, I was trying to figure out how to do a domino mask, and I settled for goggles at the end of the day because I ran out of crafting time.
When real quick, I think we should pick an emoji, and if y'all love the outfits that we're showing you, drop that emoji in chat, and maybe it could be a fire emoji. I'm just saying.
I support it. I think that's the way to do it.
Works for me. I'm down. I'll endorse that.
Although we do
You want to show the next one?
have a couple of other Bucky ones in chat as well. We got a Bucky emoji here.
Oh, cute.
Love that. Love that for us. But
Yes, the mechanical arm emoji.
Two surprise skins.
Oh gosh, fun. There's a comment I have to
They're gonna
say
be
this.
either
There's someone that
MCU or
said they
some
need a
legendary
Vanessa
comics.
emoji, and ironically, over on my Twitch
is the
channel,
Marvel
there's several
Cinematic
of my
Universe.
face, and you don't want that life. Hey, let's go to the premium skin. What do you want to tell us about the Bucky skin?
I'd much prefer if you had
So
this
yeah,
hairstyle.
if you pull that one there, there's one on the screen that I can't see yet. There we go.
Fine.
And they should have
Going
Peter like they're gonna
back
probably give Peter his hair for his no
to
mask.
Bucky's origins as Captain America's sidekick. So we have sort of a reinterpretation here of full-grown Bucky Barnes with the uniform that you see in those classic comic runs. So he does have the domino mask, and he's got the classic blue and red leather outfit. It does have 3 other variants that do live on the hero card as well. These ones are on the premium track. And it does have one that I really adore, which is Night Watch, which actually looks like it would fit in with the rest of the Red Room variant outfits as well. From there, can you bring up the White Wolf outfit?
I sure can, and it should be live on the screen.
Excellent. So this one here is one of my favorites. So this is another one that the team put together. This is a Crystal original, and you can see sort of the inspiration here is Wakandan themed. So we're taking inspiration from Bucky spending some time in Wakanda with this outfit. And the really great thing about this one is this is actually going to be a shipment outfit that will be earnable for anyone in game.
Starting December 1st.
Starting December 1st, you beat me to it. Open 100 shipments between December 1st and January 5th, and you will be able to unlock this White Wolf outfit.
And from our art director, Jeff Adams, this outfit is basically a gift from King T'Challa and Shuri, given to Bucky after him spending time with them in Wakanda. So there's a little bit of lore behind it.
Nice.
From there, do we have the experiment outfit?
The next one I actually have on here says furlough.
Okay, furlough. Let's bring in furlough then.
Delightful. It is here. I have to say though, this guy looks like, this is completely unintentional, but his hair in this makes me think of the guy from Resident Evil 7, and that makes me feel away. Because they never revealed their models before.
I'm being like an Avengers hater right now.
I'm so sorry. I derailed everything. Please continue.
So this is Bucky's furlough outfit. This is a casual outfit. This one is going to be a future outfit that you will be able to get in shipments. This and its 3 variants will be one of the outfits that goes into the pool for unlocks through the shipment system. So it wouldn't be a chase prize, but this would be one that would you'll have a chance to unlock on each shipment that you open. It won't be in the December pool, but it'll be in the shipment pool after December.
Well,
I also just want to make it clear to chat that Ethan Winters wish he could look this clean, but that's for him in a different life. I won't spoil things about Resident Evil 7. I was about to do that. Hey, do we want to talk about the Gulag skin?
Absolutely.
Delightful.
Why you sound so
It's
low?
up on the screen.
Awesome.
Oh,
so this is Bucky Barnes in his prison outfit. So this is another Ernal outfit. This one is actually going to be available to unlock through the cosmetic vendor. So this is going to have it'll be part of the regular rotation of earnable outfits for Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Okay. Like he had 3 Wolverine spikes supposed to come out, but it's not.
Who the hell is Bucky?
It is indeed. I really love the face mask on this. Like, this is intense in my opinion.
Guys, then they took that fucking wire off his arm.
I also want to just shout out the name on this one.
Oh, man. Please fix his
Layla
hair.
Does our naming conventions, and this being his comic origin outfit, down to having the tube in the arm.
Oh, his
I adore this outfit, and it being his first line in the comics, his first line in the movies, and the name of this outfit, I think, is amazing. So this is going to be one of our marketplace items that we do have at launch for Winter Soldier. Okay, and the next several here are going to be marketplace items as well.
Of course.
From here, if you want to move on, do we have the Howling Commando?
That is in fact the next one that is on the screen, and it's giving a little bit of army-ish vibes, or kind of like military vibes on it.
Absolutely. So this is sort of that throwback to his time with Captain America and the Howling Commandos, like Dum Dum Dugan. So we get sort of the classic army look, and this will actually pair up really nicely. We have a classic cap with the army helmet and the sort of leather jacket as well. So these will make a really nice sort of set together. From there, we should have, I believe, Earth's Protector.
Yeah, and this is the skin. I actually have it up on the screen for you now. This is the skin that kind of threw me for a loop a little bit because I haven't read the comics in so long. But I would not be surprised if there is absolutely an arc where Bucky definitely goes into space. Because as an old school comic reader, I know Marvel will pull out the stops when they absolutely feel like it. So tell us about this one.
Absolutely. This is just after, I believe it's the original Sin comic arc, where Nick Fury is no longer at his post as the man on the wall, basically defending Earth from everything else that's out there. So this is Bucky going into space and being sort of the first and last line of defense for us. And this one here, I love the whole look of this outfit, the feel of it, especially like that domed helmet. All of this is pulled like directly from the comics, and when I saw this one come to life, I remember seeing the concept art and then actually seeing this in game, being like, "Oh yeah, I adore that one."
Yeah, it looks good.
And then we've got one outfit left, and this is the one that didn't make the blog. So we actually are going to reveal
a reveal
the MC outfit that we have for
yes!
live with him tomorrow when it comes out.
Yes! Oh shit! Yes!
In all its glowing
Oh,
glory.
Everyone has been asking for it in chat
I said
They
since
have
we
been.
started the stream, and I was going to tease it, but I thought we would just wait. Here it is.
So here we go. We actually do have Winter Soldier with his MCU look from Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and we have him with the goggles and the mask. We've got him with just the mask and the face paint, and we have an unmasked version as well. And
Yeah,
we are
chat's
actually
blowing up. Go ahead, Chris.
There we go. I'm watching it scroll at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's moving so quick.
That we bought.
And the thing that I love about this outfit is we're actually going to have a bundle that if you only want one of these outfits, you can pick it up by itself for the normal price of an exotic outfit, which is $1,400. But if you are interested in all of them, we are going to have a bundle of these 3 outfits together, and it would only be 2,200 credits for the full bundle.
That is $20.
That's your Cyber Monday pitch you got right there. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
I love this outfit. I've been running around with it ever since we showed off the GIF hunter with him catching the shield.
Catching the shield.
Man, as soon as we got that GIF in that emote in game, and then we had this outfit, that's all I've been doing. I must have half a dozen screenshots saved on my hard drive of him in this outfit with the shield and just sort of caught staring down the camera.
Yeah, we teased a couple of them, but keep your eyes peeled. We're gonna post more of the emotes that that are coming for Bucky. There's some really good ones, and some returning favorites like the roasting the s'mores, which we love. That's what we have to share for you all today. Plus, one more thing. Barring technical difficulties, we have a launch trailer to show you. This will go live tomorrow. This is the 2.7 launch trailer. It has been so much fun hanging out. Thank you all so much for celebrating with us today. The stream will be done after we play the launch trailer. But yeah, update 2.7 comes out tomorrow. Super excited to see what y'all think online. A lot of love went into making this update and bringing Bucky to you, and we're really excited at the studio for you to experience him.
Absolutely. The team's put a lot of love and effort into this, and I will say I'm a little biased, but he is my favorite character at this point, and I've been a Kate main since December of 2020. So it's taken almost 2 years, but I am breaking my play patterns, and I look forward to catching you all in game tomorrow.
And just real quick, because I've seen a couple questions about this throughout the stream. What time will it be out tomorrow? Typically, we target an 8 a.m. Pacific rollout for the patches. That bars lots of different things, but that's the time we typically strive for. So 8 a.m. Pacific tomorrow.
Oh, don't make me president. That's a terrible idea. I'm going to throw up the BRB screen really fast. Thank you so much, everyone, too, for the warm welcome. I hope you enjoyed the stream today. I know people were like, why isn't she talking? I'm the new person. I just do the production stuff. That's, at least I tried to, and it still was trying to give me a good drop kick. But I'm going to put up the BRB screen real fast. Stick around, because we are going to show you the launch trailer in just a moment.
Told you guys, the skin. The MCU skin. And I gotta say, I just realized the Hulk is on the side. Will I be buying these Civil War skins? Yes. I mean, with Winter Soldier? Yes, absolutely. They knew what the hell they're doing. They're gonna make bank, okay? They say it's going live, but it's gonna Thursday, we're gonna make bank. You already know. Oh, this part of our trailer already fucking saw.
Avengers.
Yeah, I already saw this one.
So much to catch up on. Perish by my flames.
Yeah, we already saw this trailer because Marvel already released it. Alrighty, guys. So, sorry with the lag. I didn't want to put that kind of keep doing it. It's bothering my ears. That was 2.7. So they said the stream will end after there. Yeah, I really wish they add more Spider-Man skins as well. It's a kind of, I don't know what's going on with him. He should be their most targeted hero to make money off of. Spider-Man has so many skins up there with Iron Man. So people need to be a word for it, but it's only PlayStation. So they're thinking maybe we can make more income throughout the whole system. But I'm like, why don't you talk to Sony about putting what's the name in place it on PC. So all right, guys, we're gonna end it here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I enjoyed you, whoever was here, but it looked like it's mostly about myself, and it's about me an hour and 40 minutes. They talk about a lot. I'm sorry there was some technical difficulties early in the stream, so you kind of didn't see the beginning of Scott Porter and them talking. I was trying to change the thumbnail. So